Start off with one of our verbs. Okay? Now, simple definition, at least I think it is. What is a verb? What is a verb? What is a verbo? Anyone?
It's the action word.
Action! Gracias! The action word. Make this bigger. There we go. It is an action word. And the first verb we will be learning en español, the first action word, is the verb ser. Ser means to be. Does that help? Un poquito. Okay? So, the verb ser means to be. Alright? Now, most verbs in español, okay, will change, their form and their spelling depending on the subject of the sentence. Okay? Verbs in English do not do that generally. Okay? The verb to be is the exception in English. Okay? Because you have I am, you are, he or she is. Okay? It's not I be, you be, he or she be. Okay? Even though I have heard that before, all right, it is completely and totally wrong. All right? And so I tell students, okay, in Espanol, all verbs are like the verb to be. Okay? I am. You are. Okay? But imagine that for every action word. It will always change depending on who's doing the action. All right? And so, moving to this board, okay, first off, let's get the subject pronouns out of the way. Okay? So first off, we have I. Okay? You're talking about yourself. I. Okay? In Español, that's yo. Okay? Yo. If you're talking about yourself, yo. Right? What does tú con acento mean? You in what context? Informal or familiar, whichever term you want to use. Okay? So friends, family, peers, young people, students, etc. Okay? So I'm going to write you. What does usted mean? You in the formal. Okay, so strangers, people you don't know, people you just met, older people, your teachers, your doctor, your lawyer, etc. Okay, now, gets a little bit tricky here, just for un momento. Does anyone remember, we did this a week ago, el con acento. That is he, okay? And then ella. She. You're like, it's a girl. Yes, you're right. But what's the pronoun? She. Okay? So I'm going to write this down. You, he, she. Okay? These are our singulars. Okay? I, which is one of me. You, I'm only speaking to one person. He, I'm only talking about one person. All right? But now we have our plurals. Okay? If it's us two, I don't say I and I. What is I and I? We. Okay? So en español, all right, nosotros, all right, is we. Okay? Nosotros. Now, Espanol is a gendered language, okay? And if you notice on the slide, it has O-S-A-S, okay? Because with nosotros, you kind of have to worry about the gender of the people, the I and the I, okay? if it is two guys, all right, we got Jack and Ashton, saying, Mr. Santos, nosotros think that this class is stupid, okay? It would be nosotros because it is two guys speaking, okay? Please remind me, Meredith E. Kyla, all right? If they were saying, Senor Santos, we think this class is stupid, then it would be nosotras. Okay, because we've got two girls. Nosotras think this class is stupid. Okay? But if it is Jorge and Haley, one boy, one girl, which form do we use? Does anyone know? Nosotros, we use the masculine. Ladies, I will apologize to you many, many times. Spanish, the default form is the masculine form. Okay? Even if Kaylee is the one talking, and she's saying, we think this is stupid, she would say, nosotros think this is stupid, even though she's speaking for herself and George and Jorge. Okay? Guys, we only have to remember the masculine forms. Ladies, you have to remember both masculine and feminine. No, okay, yeah, lo siento. Okay? So, nosotros, nosotras means we, okay? And remember, this is the default form when you have a mixed group. Okay. Now, here's the really fun one. First off, those of you that have taken Spanish before, did you have to learn the vosotros form by the show of hands? Nobody did. Holy puta. Okay. All right. Vosotros is literally the plural of tú. Okay? So, one student, I'm talking to two students. One young person, I am talking to two young people. All right? And so on. All right? How would we translate that into English if I'm speaking to both Ashton and Meredith? Okay, I love teaching English sometimes, okay? Not they, because I'm speaking to them, but both of them at the same time. It's still you. I would say, hey, I want you to write this down, both of you. Okay? Now, we do have regional differences in English. Some of you might say, y'all. I want y'all to write this down. I want you guys to write this down. I might add like a modifier. Okay? No offense, Italians. I want yous to write this down. Okay? But it's basically just you. It's the plural, you. Okay? So, a group of, take all the two. Salud. All right? Now, salud again. Kind of the same thing as with nosotros. If I'm only talking to the ladies in the room, I would say vosotras. If I'm talking to the guys in the room, I would say vosotros. But what if I'm talking to all y'alls? Yeah, I would still again use vosotros because that is the default. Okay? Now, the rest of y'all, or I guess it's all y'all's, did not have to learn it in your Spanish class, okay? And the reason why, okay, some teachers don't teach it is because, does anyone know, because there's only one country that actually uses this. What is the only country?
Spain.
Spain, gracias. This is only used in Spain. It's only used in España. No other Spanish-speaking country actually uses it, okay? I'll come back to it in un momento, all All right, so Mr. Santos, what if I wanted to talk to a group of friends or two young people, or you're talking to two of your students or four of your students? Every other country, Mexico, Guatemala, Argentina, Colombia, Venezuela, okay, uses ustedes, which is the plural of usted. Okay? What would ustedes mean? You, yeah. You all, y'alls, y'all, all of yous, okay? However you want to say it, whatever like regional dialect you might have, okay? So it is still you in the plural, okay? Now, yes, in Spain, in España, this would only be used if you're talking to a group of strangers. Okay, 2 orthopedic surgeons have been brought in to consult with Dr. Jack, so I'm speaking to the 3 of you. Okay, we've got 2 old people. Sorry, you guys are old now. Okay, type of thing. All right. Everywhere else, though, Mexico, Guatemala, Puerto Rico, Argentina, Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela, we use ustedes for anything that's a group. Young, old, stranger, friend, cousin, peer, younger, whatever. Okay, we use it for everything. In fact, your Spanish-speaking friends, if they're Puerto Rican or whatever, probably don't even know how to use vosotros. Okay? No, I'm serious. I didn't learn this until I got to college. Because what's my background? Mexican, yeah. They don't use it in Mexico. All right. I get to college and it's like, what's this other form? And yeah, Spanish teacher had to be like, okay, we're going to teach you, this other form. Okay. It's like going into an English class and learning, Elizabethan English, or learning, a new structure, or, someone helping you with your writing because it's something that you never had to do. Okay. Which is fun. All right. Now, other than Spain, you will need this inside this classroom. Okay, even though my background is Mexican, even though like all these things I just said, I do want you to learn all these forms, okay? Because number one, you never know what you might need, okay? Tomorrow, Jorge could wake up in Madrid, all right? And so, whatever. Ashton could somehow end up on a 2-week vacation in, Barcelona. All right, and he will be glad. He's like, yay. He will be glad not just to be in Barcelona, but that he knows all of the verb forms. Okay. Numero dos. This is my own selfish reason. I'm hoping that one of you will decide, you know what? Forget what I put down as my major. I'll be a Spanish teacher. All right. Yeah. And if you become a Spanish teacher, it's kind of once again important to know all of the forms. Number one, but number two, yes. We're starting with the most basic here. But just like if you were to major in English, let's say, you do start with learning how to write properly essays and, give speeches and, you read simple literature, but then you keep taking more and more classes, and before you know it, you're taking 14th century medieval British lit type of thing. And even though in spoken Spanish, vosotros is only used in Spain, in written Spanish, it's actually in quite a lot of things, okay? So, as you're reading, Spanish literature for your Spanish major, because you're going to come back and steal Santos's job and become a Spanish teacher, you'll be glad that I taught you this. I may not be glad, but you will be glad that you learned this, and, it's like you're going to be able to make it through those. Now, some of you are like, Santos, I'm never majoring in Spanish. Don't say never, all right? Because I actually have had never. Because you want to. Look at that. You know what? I already have a convert. Look at that. What's funny, and this was like maybe 8 years ago, I had the younger brother of like a student that I had like my 3rd year of teaching here. And I was just like, are you related to Mike? And he's like, yeah, he's my older brother. I'm like, what's he up to? Like, because once you guys leave here, most of the time I have no clue. He's like, oh, he's the Spanish teacher over at, Frankfurt Sky or wherever, Herkimer or whatever high school's out there. I was like, are you serious? He's like, oh yeah, he's been teaching out there for like 4 years. And I was just like, I didn't even know he was going into education. And he's like, yeah, after he left MD, he changed his major to education, and he's now a Spanish teacher, like a high school Spanish teacher. And I'm like, okay, I feel good. All right, I can retire now. No, but maybe a couple more Spanish teachers, like then I'll retire. All right, type of thing. So I'm like, okay, that actually turned out. One of the Spanish teachers at RFA is also like a former student of mine, like type of thing. And so it's just like, okay, yeah, I got Spanish children everywhere. All right, and if people take their Spanish class in high school, then it's like my Spanish grandchildren, okay, type of thing. So yeah. So anyways, I do it because you never know. Someone might, decide to either or minor in it. That's fine. But yeah. Okay. So anyways, what are lots of he's in English? He. They. Okay. All right. It's they. And so in this case, ellos is lots of boy days. Okay. Ellas, which is the plural, is also they, but what form? What gender? Yeah, so they, it's the feminine form, okay? What if I'm talking about alls y'alls to someone else? Ellos, yes, okay, because the masculine form is the default. Okay? Now, those are your subjects. If you look on page 10, okay, everything I have just explained, okay, is literally in the gray boxes, okay? It goes through the different genders. It goes through the O and the A. And then underneath the chart, it literally explains the differences. Vosotros is the plural of tú, ustedes is the plural of usted. Vosotros is only used in Spain. Everywhere else they use ustedes, etc., etc. Okay, so if you need to review it, if you need to look at it again, I am recording, but you can also read the book. Okay, now the other thing it goes through. Okay, well, I'll get to that in a minute. Never mind. Okay, so these are the forms of ser. Okay, so yo soy is I am. Okay, tú eres, you are. I'm talking to Jorge because he's younger than me and he's my student. Usted es, you are. I'm talking to Kaylee because she is older than me, or she's a stranger, or we're doing business together. Okay? If I'm talking about Carson, él es, he is. If I'm talking about Emma, ella es, she is. Okay? Now, yes, a little confusing because it is the same for usted, for él, for ella. Okay? We are, nosotros somos. If it's Faith and Maddie, it would be nosotras somos. Okay. If it's Ashton and Meredith, it would be nosotros, because the masculine form is the default form. Okay. I'll use this in the classroom, but trust me, outside of the classroom, I don't. All right, even though I'm teaching it and I'm having you learn it. So, vosotros sois, alls y'alls are. Okay? Ustedes son, still, alls y'alls are. Ellos son, they, the boys, are. Or ellas son, they, the girls, are. Okay? Preguntas so far. All right, so typically we add, okay, then some kind of, thing, all right? You are, he is, she is, whatever, okay? Because the verb ser, to be, we use it for a lot of reasons, but so far in this class, we're giving you tres. Okay? Numero uno, I'm going to erase Spain here for a minute. We did it the very first day of class. Origin. De donde eres? Where are you from? Soy de California. All right? Or if you guys were asking me, okay, because I'm your teacher and I'm older than you, ¿de dónde es usted? All right? Soy de California. All right? So you need the word de, because de means from. And you can say, I'm from Utica, soy de Utica, soy de New York, I'm from New York. Okay? Or, we'll look at some countries in un momento. If you have something different, ask, I can say it in Spanish. Soy de los Estados Unidos. What do you think? Estados Unidos in inglés? United States, yeah. Obviously, if you're traveling, you know. I'm from the United States. Soy de los Estados Unidos. Huh? Soy de New York. Okay. Most place names don't change. Okay. But New York is one of those special places that does. All right. So we say you can say, even though I wrote it in English, you can say nueva. Okay, for new, okay, soy de Nueva York, all right? If you're from Philadelphia, it's literally just soy de Philadelphia, all right? If you're from Charlotte, it's soy de Charlotte, all right? But even if you're from New Jersey, people don't say Nueva Jersey, they still say soy de New Jersey. But New York gets its translation, okay? No sé, all right? So where are you from? Origin. Okay? Numero dos. And this is where, and this is why I asked those of you that were here early if I had given out this sheet. Okay? And if you have it, you can take it out. And if you don't, I brought a couple of extras. Numero dos. We use the verb ser to describe people or things. Okay? Now, your textbook uses the term, oh yeah, go ahead. Your textbook uses the term inherent qualities or inherent characteristics. And if you want to use that, that's fine. But I like to just say, you're giving a physical description or a personality, if it's a person, a personality description. Okay, so if you look, and if you need one, feel free to ask, feel free to come on up. All right, yeah, could you throw one at, yeah, my foot hurts. Yeah, I gotta wait a couple more hours before another paint though. So, you can say, for example, yo soy fabuloso. I am fabulous. Okay? If Emma here runs track, ella es rápida. She is fast. She is quick. Okay? Remember, if it ends in O, you're describing a male or something masculine. If it ends in A, you're describing a female or something feminine. Okay? So with Emma, I would say rápida. Okay? Ashton es curioso. He is curious. Okay? If it's anything else, for example, like intelligente, if it ends in any other vowel that's not O or A, okay, ella es inteligente, she is smart. Él es inteligente, he is smart, okay? You don't have to change O's, A's, or whatever, all right? Preguntas on that. All right, now, if you look in your Libro on page 11, on page 11, okay, the very far right-hand column, P-10, it gives you a couple other words, okay? If you look at the modelo, modelo means example. What do you think comico or comica? Funny. Yeah, we say comical in Espanol, but yes, you translate it into funny. Okay? So Tassin es cómica. Tassin is funny. Okay? Jorge es cómico. George is funny. Okay? If you look at number 1, what do you think? Responsable. Responsible, yeah, you can describe someone as responsible. Número 2, admirable. Admirable, yeah, someone you admire, okay? Número 3, number 3, extrovertido. Extrovert, a less fancy way of saying that? A less bougie? Outgoing, gracias, yeah, okay, someone who's outgoing. Okay. Número 4, serio. Serious. Gracias, Ofelia. Yeah, someone who's serious. All right. Maddie es seria. Okay, she is serious. Okay. Carson es serio. He is serious. All right. We've already done inteligente. Number 6, generoso or generosa. Sorry. Generous. Yeah, generous. There's the joke that you just take an English word, add an O, and it becomes Spanish. Sometimes it does work that way. Honesto. Honest. That is literally just honest with an O. Honesto. Now, if you're describing a girl, you do have to change it to an A. Okay, so like Meredith es honesta. Okay. And then the last one, introvertida. Introvert, so a less fancy way, a less bougie way of saying it. Shy. Okay, shy. All right. Now, if you go down to P11, okay, and your textbook uses characteristics, once again, inherent characteristics, inherent qualities, you know, either a physical or a personality description. Arrogante, arrogant. The next 3 we've already done. Elegante, elegant. Okay? If you skip over to places that you're from, now I gave you an example of a local city, the state that you're from, or the country. Okay? Here it gives you a couple of other countries, but remember, you always need which word? De, because de means from. So, de España, from Spain. De Cuba, from Cuba. Okay? The last thing that we use it for, or at least that I'm teaching you today, there's actually about 5 more things that we use that for, but that comes in future chapters. Lo siento, I'm writing it in Spanish. Okay, now it's in English. Your profession. What do you do for a living? Okay, now, for Senor Santos, I would tell people, soy profesor. What do you think profesor is? Professor. I'm a professor, or I'm a teacher. Soy profesor. Okay? You're talking about, yeah, oh yeah, Santos, él es profesor. He's a teacher. He's a professor. Okay? If someone asks, like, that old dude you were talking to, oh, that's Santos. Él es profesor. Okay? A lot of you might have like a part-time job, whatever it is that you do, okay? I am not going to teach you all the words for like every job that you may or may not have, because for right now, your profession, the thing that you do, estudiante, a couple of you were whispering. What is estudiante? Student. So, what do you do, Kaylee? Soy estudiante. I am a student. Okay. Do you know what Jack does, like with his day? Oh, él es estudiante. He's a student, so he's at school all day. Okay.
Is that like the feminine or masculine?
That is for both. All right. So that's why I used Kaylee and Jack. You don't need to change it. All right. So ella es estudiante. Él es estudiante. Okay, it's the same for both genders. Good question. Muy bien. All right. So, now, some of you might do these things, okay, even if it's not your profession, but you can, make it part of your identity, let's say. If you look at the middle column there, profesiones, professions, what do you think actor? Actor, okay, so if you're a theater person, maybe you do amateur theater, or you're going to be in one of the college productions. Yo soy actor. I am an actor. Okay. Atleta. What is atleta? Athlete. Yeah. If you're on one of the school teams, or maybe in high school you were, soy atleta. I am an athlete. Okay, soy atleta. Soy estudiante y soy atleta. I'm also, we do have a bowling team, don't laugh. You're on the bowling team, soy atleta. I'm an athlete. Okay. Músico or música. Musician. Now, música does mean music, but in this context, musician also. Okay, so if Faith is in a band, you just look like the band type, I don't know. She would say, oh yeah, soy estudiante y soy música. I'm also a musician. Okay, we play on weekends. All right, come and watch. All right, type of thing. Okay, or I don't know, Jack looks like, tambourine maybe? So soy músico. I am a musician. Okay. This is kind of a bad word right now, but you still have to learn it. Politico or politica. Politician. Yes, I'm a politician. Boo. All right. Soy politico or soy politica. And then finally, artista. Artist. Okay. I was going to say, every now and then I get a student with their big ass board that they carry with them. But if you're an artist, okay, oh yeah, soy artista, like I draw, I paint, I sculpt, whatever, okay? So it can also be a part of your, personality, your description, or who you are, okay? Last thing before we do some exercises, some ejercicios, okay? I know that I've taught you to, when someone asks you what your name is, me llamo Señor Santos, or me llamo Pacini, or me llamo Ashton, whatever. You can also say, sorry Meredith, I'm going to pick on you. What would soy Meredith just mean? I am Meredith. Yeah, and she could totally legit just, oh, ¿cómo te llamas? Soy Meredith. Yeah, that's me. I'm Meredith. All right. Boom. Okay. Soy Katie. All right. Soy Lorena. Soy Jack. All right. That's it. All right. If you want to keep it simple. All right. That's another way of introducing yourself. Okay. So, a couple